Question 1. Circle has a 12-inch diameter, is folded in half and folded in half again. What's the area of the resulting shape? Bless you. So we could figure out the area of the circle, right? And then divide it by 4. So what's the radius of this circle? 6. So did anybody take 6 squared times pi? 36 times pi. Did anybody do that?
113.04.
Okay, that's actually going to be helpful for this one here too, right? Same circle. All right, so 113.04, is that my answer? Yeah, divided by 4 because you folded the circle into fourths. So what is 113.04 divided by 4? 4 into 11 twice. You got the answer?
Yeah, I do.
What do you got?
28.26.
Got a label?
Inches squared.
28.26 inches squared is correct. Okay, number 2. Again, we can find the area of the entire rectangle. 18 by 30. So the area is 540, and then I'm going to have to subtract the area of the circles. Okay, did I mention a little hint to you guys on that one yesterday?
Yes.
All right, I believe I told you incorrectly.
Bro.
I think I said you added these and then squared it. You'd have to square them all first. I thought of that after you left because exponents has to come first. All right, so we're going to go through this one together since I told you that wrong. Area of this one we know is 113.04. Ladies, why don't you figure out the area of this circle? 3 squared times pi. Guys, 4.5 squared times pi. You already have it? Okay. Let somebody else get it so I'll make sure it's right, okay? All right.
28.26.
Agree? Yes? Guys, how we doing?
I'm almost done. What?
Maverick got it?
I don't know.
What do you got?
I got 161.55.
That's way too high.
I don't know what I did wrong then.
Yep.
64.625.
I got a little less than that.
I'm almost done with it.
Connor? Yeah, 63.585 is what you should have. All right, so let's add those up. Rylan, help me out, please, with the addition.
5, 18, 8, 14, and then 10, and then
All right. So 204.885, we could round it to 2 decimals at this point if we wanted to. If you don't want to do the extra one, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say 89. Then I'm just going to put a little approximate symbol. All right, so I'm going to subtract those two things. So I got to borrow from here, 9, 9, 10. 10 minus 9, 1. 9 minus 8, 1. 9 minus 4, 5, 3, 3. How about a label on that one? Inches squared. All right, now one thing I want to point out, and we just touched on this a little bit yesterday. If you ever see in terms of pi, okay, so I want to talk about that because that can save you some time if it says leave it in terms of pi. Okay, so let's say we had a radius of 10 and I wanted the circumference. How would you figure that out? Yep. 20 times pi. Everybody agree with that? Diameter times pi. If it ever says leave it in terms of pi, I just leave it like that. It's just saving the trouble of multiplying it all the time times 3.14. What would the area of this one be? Well, what's the radius squared? What's 10 squared? 100, right? Times pi. So I would write the radius as that, 100 pi. This one, you'll notice it did say that in the directions. Expressed in terms of pi, so just to show you what that would look like. Remember what 3 squared was? 9, that would have been 9 pi. 4.5 squared, I think, was 20.25. Gentlemen, tell me if I'm wrong. And 6 squared was 36 pi. So in terms of pi, I could have wrote 540, which was the rectangle, minus 36 plus 9, 45 plus 20, 65.25 pi. I technically could have left my answer like that. Now, do you have any idea what kind of number that is? That's pretty tough to see, right? But that is an option. If you ever see in terms of pi, that's all that means. Just don't multiply by pi. Question 3. The face of a clock has a circumference of 63. What is the area? So remember, circumference is diameter times pi. If I ever want the diameter, I got to take the circumference divided by pi, which you had to do yesterday on the warm-up. So 63 divided by pi. Anytime we divide, it normally doesn't come out very nice. Move the decimal, move the decimal. Already got my squigglies in there. 314 into 630. Twice. 314 into 20. 0 into 200. 0 into 2,000. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to call it 20. Good with that? Yes? All right, so the diameter is 20. That means the radius is what, Rylan? 10. And how do I find the area with the radius of 10? Square it. What's 10 squared? 100. What's 100 times 3.14? 314. Label? Inches squared. 10 squared times pi. Question 4. Did we do letter A yesterday? Yes? All right, so that one was yes, it is proportional. And the constant was 2 or 1/2, depending on if you go from radius to diameter, diameter radius. 2 of them, hopefully you could say no to, right? Anytime you see area, you should already know that is not proportional. And those are the ones that make the curves. Right? Radius and circumference, if I would graph that, is it proportional? What do you think? Yeah, absolutely it is. We graphed it earlier on. So how do I get from radius to circumference? So just think if you have a radius of 5. How do you get to circumference? Yep. Okay, 2, double it, times pi, right? So you could say 6.28. You could have said double it times pi. Either one of those is fine. Okay, how about diameter and circumference? Yes. So if I give you a diameter, how do you give me a circumference? So 3.14 or pi is your constant. Okay, if you did it the other way, you could have put divided by 3.14, dividing by pi, 1 over pi, reciprocal. All right, question 5, find the area of this shape. It does say 2 different ways. I probably should have specified yesterday one way would have been fine. I just wanted to make sure you can get the area of it. And maybe I told you that. 4 times 3 is 12, right? This is going to be less than 12. Why? Because this piece is missing there. There's a triangle chunk out of it. I know the base of my triangle is 2. How far is that piece up there where I put the question mark? It has to be 2 because 2 plus 1 would give you the 3, right? So what's the area of a triangle? Base of 2, height of 2. Base times height divided by 2, right? Don't forget to divide by 2. 2 times 2 divided by 2. 2. Label? It's area. Meters squared. Question 6. Okay, this is a review from earlier on this year. Remember, if you cannot see it, you take 5 divided by 4. You could write it as a decimal or a fraction. That tells you the constant of proportionality. I prefer fractions so you can easily reciprocal it, but it doesn't matter. So what goes next to the 1? 5 over 4. Or 1.25 if you did a decimal. So what is 9 times 5/4? 9 over 1 times 5 over 4. 45 over 4, or 11 1/4, or 11.25. What is S times 5 over 4? 1.25 S. I'm just going to continue with my fractions. Now I've got to go the other way. Now I got this number. Now what do I do? Yep. Divide by what? Yeah, you divide by 5 over 4 or multiply by reciprocal. Cross cancel anything here? $12, yep. And I'm taking 4/5 times this one as well, or dividing by 5/4. All right, B, here's an equation. What does a 1.5 tell you with regards to this problem, Jonas?
How many pages data can read compared to
Yeah. Jada reads 1.25 pages for every 1 page Elena reads. All right, last question. Write an equation for the relationship that starts E. Okay, so remember this is 5 over 4, and I'm switching the variables. What does that do to this number? Flips it, right? Another reason why I prefer the fraction over the decimal. So I switch the variables, and I reciprocal the fraction.